Ta-da! Aloha, gang.
We are live there, Charles.
Yes, we are, man. How
Aloha
are you, brother?
Friday, Aloha Friday. Is it Friday?
I wish.
How you doing, my friend? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, my brother. I'm doing fine.
Pretty long day, bro. Long day.
Oh, yeah.
But let me just get this thing set up here. All right, here we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That is set up. Aloha, everybody. Welcome to Facebook Live with Mel and Charlie on this wonderful first day of December, bro. It is the first day of December, 24 days away from Christmas, 30 days away or 31 days away from the new year. And I know a lot of people cannot wait for 2021, man. They want to kiss 2020 goodbye and move into 2021. And I don't know how different things will be on January 1st, but that's going to be up to us.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll just got to wait and see, guys. We got to keep on keeping on, man. We got to keep on being disciplined, being smart, staying home, stop congregating, man. Stay away from the gatherings, and we're tomorrow starts our 14-day mandatory quarantine. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But tonight we have Angela Keen from Hawaii Quarantine Kapu Breakers. She'll be on tonight at 7 o'clock or shortly afterwards, and she's gonna bring us up to speed in what they're doing and what are the changes. But for us here in Kauai, it's gonna be different tomorrow, and I know there's a lot of people on either side of that argument. But right now, all we can do is make sure that we protect ourselves, keep ourselves safe, and try to limit the spread of this virus. We had two more cases today. Two more cases, one travel related, one community spread. So, guys, the virus is here. It is spreading, so we need to be careful.
Yep.
Charles?
Well, I saw a little excerpt from the lieutenant governor today. Gosh, I guess he has a new plan in store, which is to increase the pre-test from 3 to 4 days and to have a rapid antigen test done upon arrival, paid for by the state. And what's kind of odd is, while I applaud at least some ideas coming through, what's kind of odd is, why didn't you just do that from the start? You were against any kind of test, and now you see all the boogeymans coming out of the closet. So you said, "Oh yeah, yeah, the state will take you one rapid antigen test." I mean, when I guess y- when you negotiate, right? You don't go until you push somebody's back against the wall.
Yeah. It's very, very hard to explain. I mean, it's one day someone's going to write about this, and you read the chronological history of what occurred, and I think people will be really, really amazed
Mm,
at the opportunities that we passed, the opportunities that early on that we had to do what was right to curb the virus, and we get accused of being Monday morning quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, I think it's important that we think about going forward now. Where do we go from here? Because
hmm
you cannot unring the bells that were rung early on, and so let's make the best with what we got and move forward. And we hear some good things about the vaccine coming out.
Yep.
Actually, a vaccine is out, and it's Dr. Fauci is saying that second quarter 2021, April, May, June timeframe, we should be available for the general public. But that's still months away, so we got to do what we can now, and get to that point with as least amount of uh, sick people and deaths as possible. we had a lot of people talking about the show last night, Charlie, in the comments. Just want to say thank you all to all the viewers that jumped on and to all of you that came on afterwards. I just saw, it shocked me. I just saw the count. There's over 6,000 views on last night's show. So thank you all. Really, thank you all for participating. I know one of the viewers are saying they were surprised at the lack of questions from the media. So was I, but that could be because the amount of information and the clarity that it was explained that maybe they didn't have any questions, or maybe because of the length of the presentation and the show, maybe they were just tired. I don't know what it was. We did have one the lady from Honolulu Radio, or I think it's called Honolulu Radio, Hawaii Radio,
Ashley.
Ashley Mizuo. She was on. She asked a couple of questions, but aside from that, I think the presentation was done in a way that every lay person could understand, and it was based on factual data. It wasn't just statements being made with no data or statistical backup. Just because someone says it doesn't make it true. I think what we saw last night was the data, where the data came from, the actual numbers, and the calculations that were done. So yeah, I think it was a great presentation, and I'm very happy that a lot of people got to see it. I know for myself, the my people that I work with in my office today was very uh, happy that they tuned in. In fact, they finally understood what the numbers are all about. We hear the 1 in 1,000, and then we hear the 15 in 1,000 or 10 or whatever it was, and it was such a huge difference in what the state was saying through the lieutenant governor, and what the doctors, and I apologize, I call them Kauai doctors, but that's not all Kauai doctors. Yeah, Dr. Darrell O'Carroll, who's actually from Honolulu. So they worked together along with others that were not on the show to come up with the data, come up with the information, and present it in a way that everybody could understand. So, thank you all for participating in that. I just hope the right people got to hear it. I just hope that the decision makers got to hear it, because that's really the key. That's really the key. It was a beautiful show of science. That's exactly what it was. It was science in action. Science in action. So I'm sure you heard the same thing today, Charlie. I'm sure you got a lot of comments and messages from people that were pleased.
I was busy trying to make sense out of some people. It's just it is what it is. But some people, honestly, and you can't. I don't blame them. I just listen. Um, a lot of them were just griping about, they don't care about this because it doesn't pay the bills. You're right. But I tell you one thing: would you rather control this thing sooner than later? I mean, that's the real question. And we talk about the vaccine. Well, just remember now, we're only getting 37,000 doses. You have to split that in half. So basically, you're only gonna get 13,500 administered first go round because it's in a two-step protocol. And then the CDC is saying it'll be given to frontline workers and home care facilities. So now the decision is going to have to be made up to each state how they're going to distribute that. So, today's questions that I was fielding from some of the people that wrote to me was that, I said, if, you guys call it a lockdown, it's only for 28 days. But if, the worst that can happen is we go into a real lockdown, give up the 14 days, okay? Then you're going to see some curfews. Then only going to be essential stores. Costco's not going to be open anymore. Walmart not going to be open. They're not going to let them get away what they did before. You're only going to have enough stores open just to go pick up your supplies. And then right after that is you go straight home. Enforcement going to be a lot tougher. Is that what you want? So, those are the realities. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Those are the realities. And if you don't think the mayor will do that, well, I mean, I wouldn't. know why you would want to attempt it. But hey, I'm just there to listen to you folks. I'm not there to judge you folks. I'm just there to tell you that you know it is what it is, and I wish there was a because like I said with the LG, he's proposing something that he would have proposed it earlier. I think we could have avoided a lot of things. I think if because it seems like now the state because it was never the state to pick up the tab, so therefore the state is willing to pick up the tab on the rapid antigen test. That's from what he says. So I go, gee, where did all these miracle tests come from? First you say no more, now get we're willing to do it. So which is good. Okay, if they want to do that, then you know, you want to do something, I don't know why the first time Marical Kami proposed a 3 day with the second test that was turned down, but it kind of looks like we're starting to move in that direction. But all the mumbo jumbo we had to go through just to get there, I just don't understand. Just don't understand.
Lot Lots could have been avoided if that initial request had been granted. 3 days too, and in fact, I think a lot of the scientists and the doctors would not have been as happy with only a 3 day. But nonetheless, that was the request, and the governor rejected that because obviously does not want to.
Hmm.
They don't want to pay for the test. I think it all comes back down to money, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand why the state would not support the visitors paying for their own tests. I just, for the life of me, if you want to come to Kauai during a pandemic, bam, number one, mistake. But if you still decide you want to come to Kauai during a pandemic, that will come with additional costs, like your quarantine, like a test if you want to get out of quarantine. Now, I saw one of the airlines from the mainland to Lehui, $192 round trip. They ain't talking. They never say nothing about the 14-day quarantine. So we're gonna get a lot of pissed off people when they land. But anyway, so these guys are saving a lot of money on their airfare. But if you want to come and you don't want to quarantine and you pay for the test. Nobody makes money. I mean, the testing companies will, yeah, obviously they make their profit, but no one else is gonna. The county won't make money. The county not gonna be burdened with having to buy all these tests. No, you want to come and you want to get out of quarantine, you pay for the test,
Hmm.
just like you gotta pay for your test before you come. Well, what about the people get 4 kids? Don't travel during a pandemic. You understand that you shouldn't bring your kids anyway on a trip in an area that has a pandemic. Why would you do that anyway? But if you want to, you pay the price, you pay the extra, you get them in, you get your test before you leave, you get your test after a quarantine here. If you're negative, you get to go free. If not, you stuck. And that's just how it has to be. We're not talking about a storm that came and ravaged the island a little bit, and we have some minor issues. No, this is a pandemic. And number one, you shouldn't be traveling. Number two, if you travel, you should be prepared to pay an extra cost because it's a pandemic. And I gotta tell you, it frustrates me when I see people traveling. I hear the interviews on TV. Oh yeah, we come every year. Well, don't come this year. Stay at home with your family during the holidays. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then you don't want to participate in the program. You know, I have absolutely zero sympathy for any of those people that comes here and are surprised because we have a quarantine, or are surprised because they may have to pay a little fee. I have absolutely no sympathy. And these guys, if the governor would allow the counties to do that, to require that quarantine period, take a second test, then the impact wouldn't be so great on our small businesses and our hotel industry. But it is what it is. Why he doesn't want to put any more inconvenience. He doesn't put any more restrictions for the visitors. He doesn't want to put any more cost on the visitors. Listen, I love visitors, but I love our residents more. So if it's a choice between our residents and our visitors, I pick the residents. Tourists, you can stay where you're at. You don't need to come. If you don't want to play by the rules, don't come. We don't want you here anyway. The ones that are willing to play by the rules, welcome. Bring your pocketbook because it's going to cost you to enjoy your vacation in Hawaii during a pandemic. That's all I got to say. Hey, while we're on the subject, real quick, Malama Pono, Misty over there in Malama Pono just texted me. They have funding for housing assistance. They have a new round of funding, so $1,500 a month, and I'll repeat this throughout the broadcast because I want you guys to get this. $1,500 a month for 3 months, and this can be used for rent, mortgage, or utilities, or all, whatever. Misty at Malama Pono, 246-9577, 246. I will put it in a comment box, 246-9577. Misty, Malama Pono, again, $1,500 a month assistance for 3 months, rent, mortgage, utilities. So please, if you are in need, if this quarantine is going to impact you as a hotel worker or visitor industry employee, please, please, please don't be ashamed. Malama Pono, please go ahead and apply. I'll go ahead and post it up in the comments right now.
Yep.
By the way, we have Angela Keene coming in right now. It's always exciting when Angela is on.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
She said she has a new system, and I see that her yes, we can hear you fine, but we can't see you.
Ta-da!
Oh, now we can see you. Oh, nice. Nice. What's the deal? What do you get a whole new studio in your house now?
I got a whole new oh. Yeah. Okay. Hold on just a second here. Yeah, I got a whole new system. So I've been doing lots of Zooms all day, every day.
Awesome. So how the hell is it going, girl? What's going on? Give us a, I know it's only an hour show, so we don't have much time, but what's been going on?
High 10 or high 5. It's, just when I thought things were slowing down, I feel like we're back in May again.
Well, we kind of are. We kind of are.
You guys had a great press conference yesterday. It was nice to see all of those medical experts coming together. No, they're not epidemiologists, but they have a different view, and sometimes a different view is okay for us to see things. And it just gives us a completely different perspective. And I think it was great to get all those guys together in one room. Yeah? I think that was really good.
I agree. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. The wonders of technology. Daryl is on Oahu. The other three are on Kauai, all in different locations. And of course, me and Charlie was in a studio.
Nice. I saw that.
Cool. Yeah, but we couldn't get the connectivity with the high-tech cameras and the TriCaster and all of that. So it was just like we were at home, but we were in a studio. But we were using the laptop and the iPad. So yeah. But anyway, it was fun, and it was very, very, very informative and educational. I thought it went well.
So what else is new? You guys started on your 14-day quarantine. How is that going? What's it like on Kauai? I'm curious.
It starts tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay, sorry. Duh. I'm always a day behind.
Well, don't feel bad. The state is 2 days behind in their reporting, so you're still a day ahead of them.
Yeah. So today I woke up and it was just like all this stuff happening all over again. Like reports of quarantine breakers. And I thought we were done with that, but we're not, I should have known. Mm-hmm. And now we're finding out that people have a workaround on the 72-hour thing. They figured out a trick. Like a workaround with their phone. They figured it out to give themselves more time, even though they're over time, like maybe 4 days instead of the 72 hours. because they missed a flight or their lab was late or whatever. They're actually messing with their phones to make it look like they got their test within 72 hours. Can you believe it?
I believe it. Yeah. They should be prosecuted. They should be prosecuted.
And they're in these Facebook groups. Shh, DM me. I'll show you how I do it. It's like, well, now the cat's out of the bag. You know?
I I honestly don't know how, and I don't want to know live on Facebook
No,
Live
not gonna tell you.
but again, it doesn't surprise me. I think Charlie and I have seen the evil in so many people in our lives that you cannot put anything past people. They're smart animals, and they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
What I have
You
a
know,
question. Yeah, go
I,
ahead.
I think what many are seeking, and when we leave it up to individuals to say, okay, you got to take a test 72 hours prior to arriving. I think for me, and I don't know if it'll ever be addressed, but I'm always about getting the person and testing them, just testing the heck out of them, because that's where the real action starts, right? Either they're negative or they're positive. Always trying to develop because today's news, the lieutenant governor is talking about a rapid antigen test and increasing the front end
Yep.
to I believe it's 96 hours now because
Oh.
of the turnaround, right? Because of the turnaround, I think that's why CVS opted out of the trusted partners, because they couldn't get the results back fast enough.
Yeah.
But even if they did that, um, I would hope and pray that the rapid antigen test, we can only, we're not the ones developing that program, but yet I hope and pray you can get up into the high 90s, like at least 95 to 98% of accuracy, and make it rapid and yet sensitive enough that it'll start picking up. And I think that's where we're missing the boat, because too many times, it's very easy to be the doubting Thomas, right? We said, hey, the guy's negative. He comes on island, decides to participate, thinking, or maybe participate because his test results didn't get in on his phone fast enough, and then all of a sudden, bingo, they're positive. So then you gotta you, you gotta try to find a way to make these tests a little bit more sensitive, I guess.
Well, and the other thing is I understand that there's quite a high false positivity rate in the rapid tests. So there's a lot of people who come here negative and think they're negative, and then they get the rapid test and it's positive even though they're negative, and then they freak out and they have a bad moment, and they test them a couple of more times and then they find out that they're negative. I mean, it's
Well, then I go back to my first comment I said earlier. Don't travel during a pandemic.
right.
If the system's not 100%, don't travel. That was always a concern when the Big Island was doing that testing, and they came out, well, we had 9 positives, well, we had 4 positives. Well, actually, we had 0 positives. Which test is correct? That was always my concern. Which test? Because you hear every single test, and depending who you talk to, there's a different accuracy rate. It's more of an inaccuracy rate. Some say 60%, 70%, 80%. And we're relying on these inaccurate tests to decide whether or not a possibly infected person is going to be let out in a community. I mean, I think the whole system is an issue. And unless we can give everybody a PCR or whatever the gold standard, even that's not 100%. But if you get 2 of them, one on the front end, one on the back end, chances of it being both flawed might be kind of slim. But all of these pregnancy test type COVID tests now, I mean, they're popping up all over the place.
Yep.
Cheap, 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks a test. I mean, I researched it one day on the internet. I was shocked to see how many of these tests are available. Go to Amazon. Just go to Amazon and type in COVID test. You blow your mind. Everybody's selling them now, and most of them are rubbish.
The thing about you're right. And the thing about the rapid test is that they're magnifying what a long-term test has. They're actually magnifying, and that's why you'll get these false positives because it's magnifying what's there. But hey, I want to know how those two people got on the plane to Kauai positive. They
They just
knew.
walked on. They just walked on.
Some of the airlines are screening them, some are not. So I've heard that, I heard by one of our members that his son came home for the holidays from college. And the airlines, before he got on the plane, checked the kid 3 times to see if he did his test and if it came through negative. So really, I think it's a smart thing for the airlines to be doing that. You don't want a positive person on a plane. That's a petri dish, you know, and the poor people that have to sit next to that person.
I honestly don't think the airlines care, you know, really, because if they did, they would do it. If they really did, and I'm talking about the corporate decision makers of these
Yeah.
airlines, not the employees at the counter, not the employees in the plane, not the employees at the gate. I'm talking about the corporate guys that's got to answer to board of directors, that's got to make money decisions based on money and bottom line. I don't think they care. Again, if it was me, you damn right, I would make it as safe as possible for people to come on a plane. But that's not the case. In the case of the two people coming to Kauai, they were residents too. They weren't visitors. They were
Right,
residents
right,
of Kauai,
right.
a couple. And according to Dr. Berriman last night on a show, if you saw that part where, although major airports on the mainland, San Francisco, LA, the CDC has these stations set up, and they were aware of these two people, the people that had the positive test, and they advised these two people not to get on a plane. And what they failed to do was put them on the no-fly, no-board list, which it has been done on Kauai. Kauai has done that. If in fact they're aware of a positive, they go on a no-board list, they can't get on a plane. Well, that's the step that the CDC failed to do in San Francisco. So these people went right by, right in.
Let me tell you this. My best friend used to live on Kauai and she moved recently to Denver. And I remember in one of her trips going back and forth, this is pre-COVID now, she was in Denver, headed back to Kauai. She was at Trader Joe's. She got her parents got her, or somebody got her that speculous cookie butter, the stuff that
Good stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
good
I
stuff.
know. And she had it in her carry-on. And it was sealed and everything. And TSA in Denver said, ma'am, you cannot fly with that. She started to open up the jar and she's going to eat it. They corralled her. I mean, they corralled her, pulled her to the side, put her on the no-fly list, said, don't you ever do that again. Made her write an apology letter because she could be on the no-fly list for life. But we have somebody with COVID, who's COVID positive, 2 people, not speculous cookie butter, COVID, and they can get on the plane. Like, what world am I in?
Again, and 9 months into this, and we haven't gotten that right yet. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
so today I woke up to a couple of things. One, I gotta say, congrats to Misty from Kauai. You guys know her. She's always been on her game, and we had some of our Oahu lead team have gone back to work. So Misty has joined us. She is now on the Kapu Breakers lead team, and she is assisting with the Facebook group. So, and she's on it, man. That girl's on it. So Misty, if you're there, thank you. And we have another person.
She actually is on. She actually is on, and I said I would mention it a few times. She's the executive director or the boss of Malama Pono here on Kauai, and they are offering the $1,500 a month. So those of you that have come on,
wow,
after I mentioned it the first time, $1,500 a month for 3 months for rent, mortgage, or utilities. Contact Misty at Malama Pono and check the post. It's in the comments. The phone number's there.
wow, that is
I just had
that is great.
yeah, amazing. Because I tell you, there's a lot of people that need that, and
Yeah.
Malama Pono continues to step up to the plate for the people of Kauai, and we thank Misty a lot. And then now to help out with Quarantine Breakers, awesome.
It is. And then we have Kainoa Michaels. Kainoa joined us also. He's been with us for a while, but just stepped up to the plate and said that he'd help. You know, a lot of people have gone back to work, including me, but I'm still doing the Kapu Breaker work, and I can talk a little bit about that. But today was just bizarre. I woke up, and the first thing I have is a message in my inbox saying that a VIP is breaking quarantine and doesn't care and doesn't mind paying the $4,000 fine. It's like, that shows you how much respect people have for Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No
Absolutely.
test, no nothing. And now they've worked around this. People have worked around the 72-hour window with their phones, and it's just like. And tomorrow we've got the big surf tournament on the North Shore on Oahu, and nobody's supposed to gather, but people will. And we still don't have a quarantine hotel. I'm telling you, all of this would have been okay if they had a quarantine hotel, put those folks in there, and they just cannot leave until they're cleared from whatever days that they have to be in there. It just doesn't make any sense because hotel workers are not security guards.
You just touched the nerve with Charles.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Do tell.
You know, we've got quarantine hotels, but it is subjective. And if they don't want you there, they'll call the police and have you removed from their quarantine hotel, even if you're under quarantine. It just happened. We did a show on it.
Oh, I missed it.
It was on the news. It involved HPD retired captain.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. No, that one I know. That one, from Lanai, yeah. I thought you were talking about Kauai.
I think, Angela, you're talking about a quarantine hotel, meaning
for all visitors who
for
don't
quarantines and not just those that are positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know about that one. Yeah.
I remember Charlie and I talking about the quarantine facility probably after the first month or maybe second month into this thing. I remember talking to the Senate COVID committee and saying, why don't we just get a COVID hotel, a COVID facility? The Senate president was looking at the UH Manoa dorms. He was looking at, I forget what the second, there was another big facility that he was looking at.
Sand Island. There's a facility on Sand Island.
I can't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the Attorney General said, no, you cannot do that. But yet that one change, if we did that, our problems would be gone.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it would be gone. There would be no quarantine breakers.
And you know what? You've got a captive audience. Put them in their room. Pipe in the music from the live band from downstairs. Have Auntie come do lei making and haku lei making. I mean, they can buy from the front desk. Front desk drops it off at their front door. They pick it up. They can get all the commercialization of Hawaii that they want in there, and the hotels can sell it to them, or the hotel can sell it to them, and they'll be willing to stay there if they have all those kinds of amenities, and people who are qualified to watch them and test them if they have a medical emergency. I mean, it would just eliminate the whole thing, right?
You know what I have a real hard time grasping is, let me take everyone back to when we went into TSA. Prior to that, we had a lot of security firms, right? Mm-hmm. That had workers checking bags and so forth and so forth. So we know that because the 9/11 individuals went through with the box cutters at that one airport, they blamed that the workers weren't vigilant enough. Well, box cutters weren't on the prohibited list. So they would have come in anyway, So you go through this whole thing. And why I say this is because I was a supervisor down in Honolulu Airport when we did the transition. And, by right, if anything happens at the airport, it's actually supposed to be the FBI that comes in, not the state sheriff, not us, because that sovereign little block that you come through, that's a basically a federal block, the
Yeah.
point area. But yet there were plans. I remember back at the time it was a good friend of ours, Sid Hayakawa. I don't know if you remember Sydney.
Mm-hmm. I
Remember
do.
Yeah.
Sid?
Yeah.
And he was in charge of all of that, and everything was like clockwork. It was like clockwork. We had a plan. We knew how to screen. We did everything physically possible to run those gates as tight as possible. And so one of the things is you notice at every checkpoint there was a gentleman standing with a shotgun,
Yep.
and he basically had a beanbag, and that's to in case anybody decides to run past the gate. So having said that, when the state rolled out the plan for what we have now, it almost seems like there was a lot of integral pieces missing from the plan. Like on the face, we got a Safe Travels so-called app, which we know is just a program that's
A
a
platform.
digitized.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have that. Then, in case something else happens, you have tidbits, bits and pieces of what's going to be done. But there's not a long-range plan. So as things move along and we start getting into it, we find all these pukas, right? But it's too late already because your objective is to stop the threat from getting past the front door. Hold it prior to, work it
Yep.
out before you
Yep.
let them in. What we're doing is we're letting them in and then figuring out on the back end. And that's totally defeating the point. And so that's why we get these decision making that, when you got your back against the wall, what do? 14-day quarantine. You have no choice. The governor and I it's not blaming him, but there's so much blame to go around, but it's just trying to find some kind of solution to this whole thing. Just finding a solution where it's at and how it can be workable on all sides.
Well,
Because
you know what happened? Here's what happened. Lobbying is what happened, and Mufi is what happened. John DeFries from Hawaii Tourism Authority has been amazing in listening and meeting with me and agreeing that the mask is the law of the land. And when I told him there needs to be end-to-end marketing from the big time that somebody books their trip to the time that they leave, get here and then leave, he agreed. But I haven't seen anything yet. And then, Mufi starts coming in with lobbyists, and I hate to say it, but it's all about the dollars. And I understand that people need to survive and make money, but we can't if we're all sick because we're letting sick people in the door. I mean, really, come on. And these poor people that are coming here, there was a couple that came here, they had the wrong test, they were an older couple, they were celebrating their anniversary. They came to Honolulu, they got turned right back around, went right back to the mainland, interviewed with a mainland TV station like in California or San Jose or something like that. And they were in tears. But why? Because nobody educated them. There was no message when they booked their flight. And that's really bad because now they've had a horrible experience in the trip of a lifetime, and they probably never want to come back. And those are the kind of people that care but just made a mistake. And now because the tourism industry does a piss poor job of marketing and awareness of our laws and our mandates, that these poor people end up with a bad experience. And so to me, it's not just the traveler's mistake, because these people didn't do it on purpose. It is the tourism industry's mistake, because you can't open up Disneyland without making any kind of announcement. It just doesn't work like that. And by the way, Disneyland just got applauded for all of their safety measures after opening back up again. And I think it was Travel and Leisure that I saw today. But I also saw Travel and Leisure talking about a 4th or 5th day testing, which Josh is not opposed to. He says it's a good idea, but whether it could happen, I don't know. But that is optimal to do the sandwich testing. Test before they get here, test enough days after they've been here that we know that we can still catch something.
mm-hmm.
And the visit industry should be, and I'm talking about Mufi, should be urging that, encouraging that, and allowing these visitors to pay for that second test. I mean, come on, man. Hawaii's a destination. And again, I said it earlier, I think before you came on, if you're coming here, you expect to pay money. If not, stay home. Come back later when there's no
Right.
requirement for a test. And that is, I think, the frustration. It's that poor couple. It wasn't even a mistake on their part. They didn't know,
Yeah.
Mm.
that the couple that got turned away. If they forgot their something at home and they had to buy a new one because the old man forgot to pack it, that's a mistake. But if you every website you go, I shouldn't say every website, but the majority of the ads I get in my email and on my Facebook page for vacations are not making it clear about the pandemic restrictions in the destination that you're heading. They just want to sell you a ticket.
A cheap
And
ticket.
they are not, yeah, cheap ticket. And they're not explaining to these people what to expect. And that's not the passenger's mistake. That's the airline's mistake. It's the travel agencies, it's the Expedias, all of these people that are on a huge push to sell airline seats. It's their mistake, and they're creating unnecessary hardships for people. And I'm not happy about that. It's so frustrating. This whole thing with the second test makes so much sense
It does.
scientifically, medically, uh, and just it's the
Even
right thing to
economically.
do.
Even economically.
Absolutely.
They're here for a few more days, Yeah.
But this governor ain't with it. I mean, he said it on the Star Advertiser interview yesterday that he was fully supportive of it. Why do you lie? If you were supportive of it, you would have approved it. I mean, that's what I don't get. These guys, they get in front of
And
camera and they think that we're all so stupid and that we have very short memories. Hello, wake up, because you're
and
not. We're not stupid, and we are paying attention.
why did the Senate, tell me, Scott Psyche, why did the Senate say that they felt that we need to give people a second chance when they get here? Because Mufi said so. And they have to give them second chances because they're not advertising about it.
So you're talking on the House side, the House committee.
Oh,
House
sorry,
committee.
sorry. I meant the
Yeah,
House
I
Committee. My
saw
bad. Sorry.
that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I saw
Mufi
that,
was involved
and
in
like,
that. It was
they're
included
fighting
in that.
back. Now he's making big body against Ige because he wants to soften the restrictions for our visitors. Hey, people, wait. You know what? You notice election power already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once the election power, they don't even think about the constituents. Now they got to pay back
They
the
get
lobbyists.
bold. Yeah, they got to
They
pay
got to
back
pay
the
back the
lobbyists.
lobbyists now. All the people that put money in their campaign accounts, now is payback time. And all of a sudden, the voters that he was fighting for before the election so hard. Wow, now we
Now we're
gotta
going to
go.
see the real thing.
It just pisses
Now we're
me
going to
off.
see,
It just
yeah,
pisses
now
me
we're going to
off
see the
because
real thing.
that's so irresponsible as a House Speaker to come up and say, "Hey, you're too strict. If these guys are coming in and they didn't, it's not their fault." Again, don't freaking travel in a pandemic if you don't want to, if you don't want to have these surprises. Stay home. And to come up and say, let's give them a chance to take a test here in Hawaii. No. You if you don't have your negative test result, you extend your flight, or you postpone your departure until you do. If not, sorry, stay your ass at home. Bottom line.
Another reason why
Sorry,
we
keep the
need
kids away.
yeah, another reason why we need quarantine hotels is the the people who cheat, and it's not just the tourists. There are local people who help them cheat. So some of the folks in our Hawaii Quarantine Kapu Breakers know about this story, but we have a notorious building in Waikiki that is full of both. It's a condotel, so it's got long-term renters and it's got the temporary folks. And it was some of our first QBs, some of our first quarantine breakers. And, I was working with security guards, we were working with the AG's office, and it was just like we'd get them, and like hours before the AG special investigator would get there, the guys were on the plane already going home early. Somebody tipped them off, right?
Yeah, that's
So for 6 months, for, you guys listening, for 6 months, we had the GM of the building and his lead security person snooping in on Kapu Breakers to see what's going on. And I'm working with the security guard to get, video to the AG's office and tracking this and tracking that. And then I had a realtor that was illegally renting temporary rentals. At the time was illegal. He had like 16 or 17 in the building. And I was just ready to get him, just like this close. Damn, I looked the next day on Airbnb. His listing is gone. I shouldn't be laughing. And then there was a big story. You guys there, these guys all know. Melissa's there. Who else is? Yeah, they're all listening. Tim, Kayala. Yeah. So I don't care if they're watching because I got their number. So you see this big story on KITV about this huge pool party and this and that. Well, it was posted in the group, but the person that posted it was kind of bragging because it was the GM of the building. And him and the security guard started bantering back and forth. I'm like, okay. Then I started posting all these facetious comments. Yeah, let him go, let him go. I had some arguments with some of our members because they're like, what the heck happened to Angela? Because I was being facetious, right? I was egging him on, and I was just like, yeah, let him go, let him have fun. Well, as soon as that conversation finished, 2 people got blocked and deleted. And then the rest of the group was like, what the heck just happened? I said, well, these people have been watching us for 6 months and followed our every move and figured out, what we were doing. And we don't broadcast active cases. But when I asked the security guard, hey, can you get the investigator this video or that video or whatever? They were already tipped off.
Yeah, well, so that's the
Why?
problem. That's it. That's that's the game. That's the game. Ask Charlie, man. I tell you, it's so frustrating, but it happens. The groups are big. You got, it involves so many different people that, yeah, the leaks happen. Whether intentional or not.
Well, it was intentional, and HPD went and busted that party up, and there were no citations, there were no arrests, because that's not their kuleana, that's not their thing here. But we have one of our members that just left the building. She handed her keys in today because she said, this is too much for me. I can't be around all these COVID positive people that are not quarantining, and that the GM allows them to walk all over the place. I can't even say because I'll give the rest of the case away. But yeah, it's just so dirty. So dirty for your neighbors and you local neighbors and your friends. That's dirty.
Yeah.
Allowing that.
It is. We get complaints all the time from quarantine breakers here on Kauai, or we forward them over to the authorities. But when you're dealing with humans in a stressful time too, this is not a normal time. A lot of people, the anxiety levels are high. They're anxious all day. It's just a different time. So people do things that they normally would do, and that's what we're dealing with right now. And that's just something that, and it's very hard for people to understand. I saw some disturbing posts today about, and I'm sure many of our viewers have seen it, but they're planning a mass protest tomorrow at the mayor's office about the 14-day quarantine. And they're soliciting protesters, and everybody has a right to protest, and I respect that right. But I hope they all have their masks on. I hope they're all socially distanced. See, I would arrest them or cite them for the mask. Mm-hmm. We have a mask mandate now.
We do.
It's very clear. The governor made it very clear with his last proclamation. So, protesting is fine. You protest within the rules. The bottom line is the decision was made based on the science and the data and the fact that the governor had rejected the mayor's request for a second test. The protest should happen at the state capitol. The protest should happen at the governor's building, the state building, not the mayor's office. What do you expect the mayor to do? It's so funny. I watch Mayor Caldwell, and every day he reminds me of my kindergarten teacher when I was in elementary school. Hi, class. Hi.
You
Did
guys
you
are
guys
doing
brush your
such a
teeth
good
today?
job.
Yay! Yay! I saw today's. He's like, we're doing it, kids. Our numbers are dropping. Well, first of all, your numbers are 2 days old, and it's from Sunday, which is typically a low reporting day because the staff isn't full staff at the labs. But anyway, enjoy your cake because it's there. But that's that. And then you look at Kawakami, I got 9 ICU beds. I got 9 ICU beds. That's actually being used by non-COVID patients right now. We're seeing 2, 3, 4, 5 cases a day. We're seeing cases coming in that was negative on the mainland, and they're coming here testing positive. This trend continues. We're gonna fill up our beds. We're gonna be in a major lockdown. And even with that, the mayor, the governor wasn't open to approving his request. So my point is this: the protest should be at the governor's building, the state building. That's where the protest should be. All masks, social distance. That's all good. Because I really don't know what option Mayor Kawakami had. I really don't. I for the life of me cannot figure what else could he have done. He tried twice. He got rejected twice.
Yeah.
You know what? This is what I'm worried about. It's going to get down to a point because I get every day in my messenger inbox, I get maybe about 12 individuals. These are all frontline workers in hospitals. And they're like, they've had it up to here already because they don't know what else to do. I think if we don't get this thing under control pretty soon, and they're even wondering why the lieutenant governor is saying what he's doing, because it's just like it's promoting the fact like, hey, everything's okay. But we got these frontline workers, which is our nurses in critical care, that are just, they're saying, I got to take family leave already because I'm at the brink of.
They're at the breaking point. Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta, I mean, they're our golden child. They're the ones that are helping the doctors save lives. And if you keep on abusing them, right? It's like you abuse your car and you don't maintain your vehicle. You don't put in enough oil. You just run it until you got metal on metal grinding. Something's going to give. And that's where these workers are at. And I just don't know why we're playing this Russian roulette with frontline workers. That's the last, if anything, you shouldn't even allow that to happen. And I think, I get caught up sometimes emotionally because I don't know what to say though.
Yeah.
I said, I know it's a tough road. I mean, even police officers, they said, and your friends over at the AG's office, they will tell you this. One, you got a set of rules you got to follow. If the people that you're trying to catch is right in the middle, it's very hard until you can make the case. Right. So all you're left with is just watching them until such time they screw up, then you can move in.
That's what happens, yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
So that's painful in and of itself because you already know where they're heading, but you can't get them to rush any faster than the pace that they're moving at right now. So then what happens to the guys? They get burnt out. They've been pulling double duty. They've been going around the clock, waiting for something to happen. And this is what's happening with our medical personnel right now.
And there won't be any fill-ins. There, in the medical field, they call it locum tenens, which means to hold in place. And these are traveling doctors and nurses that come in and take over. But that's not going to happen now if we have any rise in cases. Today, I heard 30 kids, DOE, not out there yet publicly, from what I understand, unless anybody else has heard. But 30 kids, that's a lot from a school. And the cases are going to go up because the cases are coming in they're coming in from the mainland. The rates are higher, so it's no longer 1 in 1,000. Now it's maybe 10 in 1,000, or however the percentages on the mainland is what we're going to find with the tourists coming in here. But why? And this boggles my mind. Okay, so I did an interview today with the Wall Street Journal, and this gal who is the news reporter, her brother lives on Oahu 20 years, longtime champion bodyboarder. She knows Hawaii. And she says, but I don't understand. She said, I don't understand why, because the cases are so bad on the mainland right now. Why is Hawaii opening up right now? Why are you guys open? We shouldn't be, really. I mean, they should limit, but we're at an all-time high. And why is it that, God bless my media friends, my former colleagues, why do they say compared to last year? No, compare it from when it started, when the pandemic started, March to now. Where are our tourist numbers? Where are our cases? That's what they should be comparing. Not that tourism is down 98%. No, it's up 25% than what it was in March. That's Moofy's twisting thing. That's his spin. Sorry.
Well, you were in the media once. Remember when you guys used to do that when you were on TV? You make the story so more juicy when you did it that way. You remember that?
I didn't do that because I was a health reporter. So I always spoke the truth. That's why I was a health reporter. I never blew things out of proportion.
I spoke to my son today, this evening actually, and he was telling me that Oregon, he lives in Oregon, and they just upped their restrictions today. They just increased their restrictions today in Oregon.
Wow.
And again, I'm like, and I tell my son, and Hawaii is like opening our doors and say, hey, come, not Kauai, but the rest of Hawaii is saying, hey, come over here, flee to a safe land where you can kind of do what you want, enjoy our beaches, and that's what kills me.
Well, you know what's misleading is if you look on national syndication, right? The Foxes, MSNBC, the CNN, all those channels. And when they put up the map of the United States, and they got Alaska and Hawaii always on the bottom, right? If you look at the map and you look at all the red coloring showing that the outbreaks, massive. Very few specks, North America and Canada, getting more specks down below in South America, which is, Mexico and those areas below the border. And then you got this dark red in Alaska. And then you've got Hawaii. It looks like it's pretty, it's not even colored. It's like, hey, Hawaii's doing fine.
Right.
Those kind of things that's promoting Hawaii is, hey, let's go to Hawaii because nothing's happening in Hawaii. Let's go there. That's part of, to me, I think that's what's contributing to this frenzy now, like, because people are trying to escape this virus. They want to go to the safest place on the earth. They don't take into consideration now, if 100,000 people decide to jump on a plane today and come to Hawaii, that we don't have medical facilities that can take up 100,000 people.
No,
not right now.
Cannot.
So the thing is, it's almost to a point where you got to say, okay, we're going to have a lottery.
That's actually a good idea.
We're going to allow so many in at a time. So you let this in, the rest go out, you can take in some more, okay? And you put it out in a lottery. And I think that's the only way, if we want to keep this state thriving, you got to do a lottery and you let in so many people at a time. They had their fun and play, they're safe, you let them go, you bring in the next crew. And done by lottery, and then you keep everything at an even keel pace, because that's the only way I think it's going to be done. Because if everybody decides to go for that mad dash, we're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah, they're selling $200 round trip tickets right now.
Did you, Angela? Did you hear anything? I saw one of our viewers post about a demonstration tomorrow at Kapiolani by the nurses.
I know that they are in disagreement with the nurses union because their contracts are up. I don't know if they're going to actually picket. Did it say? Let's see here.
Well, somebody just posted, and I'm assuming it's someone that that knows.
Kapiolani is in a disagreement, situation with negotiating contracts for their nurses. Not good timing right
Right.
now. Yeah,
Right. Yep.
not good timing.
You know what you can ask John DeFries tomorrow, Angela? Ask him if you would, if the HTA would be willing to entertain a lottery to
I'll ask
control
him.
to control the influx of tourism. Because remember when this thing first happened, we all said the same thing. Because tourism was down, that was a time for Hawaii as a whole to rethink our tourist industry,
Yeah,
start anew.
right.
But the moment it opened up, everybody went buckle loose. They said, we don't care about that. And then we're back into the same old, same old. Maybe this is another way. Go out on lottery and figure out how much you can let in. Because I would think if we brought in gas at a reasonable rate without overtaxing our system, I would think they would have a greater time because a lot of it's like going to Disneyland and you have that special ticket when you can get into the park early, right? The park is at your disposal. You can do whatever you want. You want to have a great time. You don't have to fight the crowds. So if that was done, you want to go see Pro, but you don't have to fight the crowds or standing in line trying to jump on the boat to go up to the memorial. Pretty much you're gonna have a manageable crowd. And I think at the same time too, the local residents not gonna have to be fighting traffic on the roadway.
Oh,
Does
that's
that mean
amazing. Yeah.
if we have our visitors in a controlled atmosphere, you don't put that much cars on the road, it should be better. I mean, it's worth something to look at.
Our worst offender right now that I get complaints about every day is Ko'olina, owned
Mm.
by Jeff Stone.
Oh yeah.
And we've got some of our members are live out there with family, and everywhere, every picture that I see is no mask anywhere. And why? I mean, it just boggles my mind. When I drive through my neighborhood here on Oahu, I live near the university. I live in Mo'iliili. I've lived here for 25 years, and it in the beginning, people weren't so great with masks, but now I would say it's about 98%, except for one of my neighbors in the building who decided he was going to wrap his face in gauze. Hello? Anyway, but and there's nothing that can really be done out at Ko'olina. Why? Because the police don't want to go out there. That's actually technically a private development, right? And DLNR won't go out there. It's for the beach. So it's Jeff Stone and his hoteliers that are keeping tabs on the visitors, and they're not. I mean, they are all over the place. There's a classic picture of a kiosk, and the kiosk is actually for timeshares. It's made like a bar, right? You got all these people with drinks. You got one guy who climbed underneath, and he's standing there inside that square, that kiosk. And everybody's like, oh, that bar's so bad. Like, they don't have masks on. It's not a bar. It's a kiosk. These people are all just gathering out there. If I go through my neighborhood, 98% of the people are wearing masks. If I go to Waikiki, which is within walking distance, 65 to 70, if that. So why?
Yeah, I don't know. I think people have just, there's a lot of people like certain places on the mainland that completely disagree with the mask mandate. They don't think it's helpful, and there's some people here in Hawaii as well.
It's the
I don't
one
know.
thing that can protect us. It's the one thing that can get us
And a
back
very
to
simple
normal.
thing, a very simple
Yeah.
thing. It's not even uncomfortable anymore. I've gotten so used to it that it's. I
You're,
did want
you're,
to show you. I did want to show you the map real quick because the CDC changed their travel recommendations on the. This was updated on the 30th of November. If you can see right here,
Mhm.
they put the entire United States,
In red.
including Hawaii and Alaska. This is brand new.
You're
Um,
kidding me.
no,
I
I'm
did
not.
not know.
This is right from the CDC. And if you look at that, remember that color. Remember that color. It's the highest level.
Oh, wow.
That's what no, that's again, when you planning a vacation, you go and you look at all your if you were going to the foreign country. I remember when I went to South Korea last year with Honolulu City Council. I mean, I checked the CDC website to figure out if it was safe. That's what you do, and
Yeah.
that's what this site is for. So it's red. They have declared Hawaii a very high threat, as the whole United States. So you know these things change every day, and now is not the time to be. And if you come into Hawaii now, um, and you don't want to wear a mask, what the hell is wrong with you?
Well, today,
Yeah.
a cardiologist that was interviewed on MSNBC, he reported, because they were talking about the mask mandate, right? But then you have a governor, I believe it's Governor DeSantis from Florida, where he banned all mandates to do with masks. And yet they have the highest single day increase in COVID cases. But he doesn't care. So that's why they was asking him, isn't that criminal? Because if you have a restaurant, right, and you know that people are just getting too close,
Hmm.
they should be masking up. The bar owner or the restaurant owner cannot even order the persons to put on their mask, or they will be cited for giving such an order. Isn't that crazy? And it shows, the COVID positive cases just skyrocketed today in Florida, and yet the governor is saying he will ban all mask mandates. You cannot cite anybody for not wearing a mask.
That's like saying to do away with seatbelts.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's crazy.
Or smoking laws. I mean,
Mhm.
all of that puts us at risk. COVID puts us at a way higher risk, as Charlie knows, as I know, as you know, Mel, and the long term effects.
Well, Kiala just said, Kiala Wolf, she just
Mm-hmm.
said over 1 million cases today in Florida. We went over the 1 million mark.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I tell you, one thing I was
Americans.
happy, like I was talking to my son, and at least we agreed that, because he's a young guy, he's in that age group that, you know, indestructible, but he agreed that this is real, and he's, of course, he's a personal trainer. He works in a medical facility, but so they get it, but most of the kids his age don't. It's just,
No.
nah, man, we're not gonna get it, and if we do, we'll get over it. We'll get over it.
Yeah, they're not thinking about the people that they're infecting.
Yeah,
That's the problem. The
yeah.
ones who will
Well,
either not make it or have long haul for the rest of their lives. You know.
I do want to share some good news. I was just given right now. A good friend of mine, I reported some time ago, um, retired from Halava prison. My good brother, uh, I'm going to mention his name because I love him, Fuzzy Anduha. He was stricken with COVID, and he's been in a hospital over 7 weeks
Wow.
and at rehab. He was just released today, went home today, and he's doing fine.
Good.
But
That's
he
good.
still has to go home and recover. He had to go to rehab, kind of learn how to do things all over again. But it's just, you know, that's just one success story, and yet we have many stories that are not so successful, especially the
Yeah.
ones that have passed away recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough pill to swallow, and
It is.
I don't know if I'll ever get used to it because just when I think I still miss my brother, and it's away in a distance, and all of a sudden this comes back, and it's like, oh boy, here we go, it's all over again, and you kind of wonder, you kind of pick at it like a scab, like what happened, what went wrong, what could have been done. There's so many questions that just keep on multiplying, and I think for those people out there that don't know about, if you lose a loved one to COVID, you will always be. I mean, yeah, I'm a pretty tough guy, but I'm gonna say this on camera right now. I get shell shocked when I hear somebody falling victim to COVID and they pass away. I get totally taken back. and it's a scary thing. And I'm sure you feel the same way too. That what you had to go through, Angela. You know.
Yeah, and it's I don't talk about it very often, but I'll be honest with you, it stuck with me.
Mhm.
And I belong to a long haul group, actually one of the first groups that was on Facebook that actually coined the name, and
Mhm.
it's real. And what it leaves when it leaves your body, it leaves a bit of a storm in your immune system. So there's days when I have to sleep 12 to 15 hours. There's days when I have Zoom meetings and meetings all day, and in between each half hour or 45 minutes that I have, I will take a nap because I just cannot go anymore. Ear infections and headaches and joint pain, and I have frozen shoulder now. I mean, and it's all just related because it causes this crazy little storm in your immune system to try to get rid of the COVID. And when the COVID's gone, you're left with other stuff. I just hope that it eventually goes away. And I'm always my happy-go-lucky self, and I always will be, and I'll always pursue, but not everybody is like that. And not everybody has that kind of energy that I have sometimes to just push through and keep going. I'm just grateful to have a job. Very, very grateful. And I think the work that we're doing is amazing. I was contracted by a marketing company that I've worked with that has worked in healthcare with me when I worked at Shriners, and they are contracted to assist the Department of Health in rolling out the vaccine. And so I have been doing focus groups after focus groups after focus groups. And it starts with the healthcare professionals, and it'll go all the way out into the community, into the most important parts of the community that are hit the hardest by COVID. And what I can tell you is it's very exciting work. It's very rewarding work. It brings me full circle. The work that they're doing and the research that they're doing involves local people, lots of them, and the technology that they're using is amazing and safe. It's the approval process that they really jammed up so quickly, that I think people worry about. But from what I can see, this thing is better than a flu shot. I mean, flu shot gives you about 70% efficacy. The COVID shot, the vaccine, gives you about 95% efficacy. And if those are lives that we can save, then I'm on board with that. So
Yeah. Good.
yeah.
Wow, that hour went by quick again as usual,
How'd that
and
happen?
it's incredible. Yeah,
You guys
but
should have a long haul show where you invite people who've been through it and can talk about it and what it's like. Um,
we've had quite a few of the patients on. We never have them. We've never had them together on the same show, but we had George Ma.
yeah,
We've had quite a few actually.
Sarah.
but to get them all together would be great. Yeah,
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Might be a good idea. It's just yeah, it really brings it home when you hear from them directly and they share. One of our Kauai, uh, I don't, I don't. They're survivors. They still haven't fully recovered. We don't even know if they'll ever fully recover, but it's a process. But
yeah,
yeah, when you hear from someone and that's in your community, and you hear the trials and the challenges, it's real, and people need to understand that. And
Mhm.
yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. What do you call it? Long haul?
long haul. Yeah, it's all the stuff that you get afterwards. It's
Oh,
called a cytokine storm. So it's basically your immune system is pushed up to a level to fight it. And when the COVID is gone, it continues to fight, but it's fighting your body, so it causes problems. Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
But yeah, it's all right though. I will survive. And the work that
absolutely.
we all get to do
Absolutely.
together is
We
is
have no
what keeps
doubt.
us
We
all
have no
going.
doubt. We have no doubt. Any closing
Yeah.
thoughts for the viewers out there, Angela? Man, we got a ton of them on.
Don't travel. It's not the time to travel. I canceled all my travel plans to the mainland. Got my money back, thank goodness. Wear your mask. Please wear your mask. It works. If there's one thing that we've learned that really, really works, it's masks, and protect your eyes. You wear glasses or goggles or, whatever, even sunglasses will help. And just, oh, I know what. I do have one thing. Ron Minor, who is the Honolulu City Councilman, actually listened to my testimony and took it a step further. So for all of you on Oahu that are watching, the City Council on December 7th is going to take up the referendum to recommend to Governor Ige that they remove the 6 feet distance from the mask mandate. Because it's just too loosey-goosey, and just wear it when you leave your house. Don't wear it when you're surfing or in the water. Wear it everywhere else. So December 7th, the Honolulu City Council will be taking testimony, and I really want people to participate in that and share their thoughts and feelings about it. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. December 7th, you can also email the council in Honolulu.
Yep.
Let them all know how you feel. I agree.
Yep.
That 6-foot rule will make it almost impossible to get someone convicted, because there's no way that you're going to be able to prove as an officer that they were 5'11", 5'10" feet apart, were they 6'1". It's just not, it's going to be too difficult. So good work.
Yeah,
Charles.
You guys are the best.
I don't know about the best, but Charlie's the best. Charlie's awesome.
Well, first of all, as always, I'd like to say thank you so much to Angela for joining us tonight. I appreciate it very, very much. We have a lot in common, and we've been able to share it. I also do like to share another thing too. You know, you talked about the 30 students. It was on Hawaii News Now. And a good friend of mine who used to own Platinum Limousine Service, and you might know him, Kurt Tsuneyoshi. He ventured out and he started his own disinfecting business, successful.
Wow.
And he won the contract. After so many months, he had to display his techniques. And it's the only one approved, but he won the contract for the DOE. So he's disinfecting the schools.
Wow.
Upon, when they have cases, and it's the newest technology. But why I'm happy is he had nobody on Kauai. So I said, hey, brother, I'll do it for you. So yesterday, I went into town and I picked up all the latest equipment in static, fogging, fans, the whole work. So if a call comes in, we have so many hours to respond to a school. We will disinfect the school. And with the technology and the efficiency of this, the chemicals that's used, it's not harmful to humans, but it will knock out the virus, the droplets, I should say, that's left behind if there's any infections in a classroom. So I just wanted to share that. So parents, you don't have to be afraid. There's somebody on the ground on all islands that will respond.
Hey, good job.
And we'll get it done because, and also he's been approved for the harbors, for the DOT.
Wow.
So that says a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because the way the contract is written, once you get a call, we have so many hours to respond. And the good thing about it is the classroom will not have to be taken out of service for the entire day. It just gets taken up for about an hour at the most.
Wow, that's been. Well, I would love to see a demonstration sometime.
Yeah, so I'll put you in contact with Kurt Tsuneyoshi. And if the name sounds familiar, his twin brother is married to Heidi.
Ah, that's how.
So, but Kurt's been a longtime friend, and he's a really good entrepreneur. He's a really go-getter. But he has 2 children, and because when COVID broke out, he says, "Man, I want everybody to be safe because you just cannot take chances." So that's why I'm glad he started that. And for all of our visitors out there, just remember one thing: we bring on the information whenever we can. And we're very fortunate to have the beautiful Angela Keene with us tonight to share her stories. But she said something very important, and that is, make sure you wear your mask. And if you can go and testify on December 7th, or at least write something in, because Mel touched on that. Because as a former DUI officer myself, we had a very, very hard time explaining some of the field sobriety tests when we tell somebody to raise their foot 2 inches above the ground. So it became very, very technical, and that's how some of the defense will try to get around it. So, the thing is, if you take language out and just say, hey, wear your mask, enforcement is a lot easier. enforcement is a lot easier. And I think, in speaking with a lot of those officers from HPD, that was one of their biggest problems is how do you enforce it, especially with that kind of language in there.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
really glad they're shooting for that referendum. So to all of our viewers out there, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Mel?
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, I hope the governor will will make that change. I mean, it needs to be done. I did want to remind people again and state Malama Pono, if you're on Kauai, Malama Pono, Misty over there at Malama Pono will, they have funding available for assistance, housing assistance, $1,500 a month for up to 3 months to cover your rent, mortgage, or utilities. So if you need
That's
to get in
great.
touch with Misty, Malama Pono, 246-9577, 246-9577. Please, now is not the time to be embarrassed. The ego, put that stuff away. Go get help if you need it. It's available. It's there for those that need it to use. So please contact Misty. Call first thing in the morning because like everything else, the funds run out. So call early, and Misty will take care of you. Angela, thank you again
Thank
for all that
you.
you do and
Thanks.
for coming on such late notice. We
No worries.
appreciate you, always do, and enjoy your discussions. It really does look a lot better. Like you're in a studio. It does. It looks like you're in a
Yeah, I have.
studio.
So the man cave is now my office. It's no longer a
Oh,
man cave.
oh
He
my
turned his
gosh.
man cave over to me. So I got a ring light. I got my computer. And this is the computer I thought had a really bad camera. I just had a really bad light.
The
And
lighting makes all the difference, man. I
what?
tell you, the lighting.
And I have that fake background. I couldn't put it up tonight, but on my other Zoom account, I got this fake background. And Dr. Showalter on the Big Island said to me, "You got a really nice living room." It looks like the hills, the Beverly Hills, in the background. it's,
I
it's
might have
not
to do
my.
that. I might have to do that. But anyway, thank you so much. And viewers, as always, thank you guys. I tell you, you
Thank
guys
you
make it
so
fun. You
much.
guys make it interesting. Last night again, over 6,000 views. There's Charlie. We appreciate you guys' loyalty to the show, and we'll keep as long as we. I said this on the post today. As long as we got viewers, you'll have the Facebook Live with Mel and Charlie show continues. So, thank you guys. You guys stay safe. God bless. We'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7. Take care, guys. God bless. We love you guys. Aloha.